Hey everyone, it's Mary and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about how to repair broken makeup. If you watched my BoxyCharm video, you know that my beautiful little daughter, who happens to be right here, this is the culprit, decided one day to pick up my blush and completely break it, right? Yeah? Yeah. So today we are going to take a stab at a hack that I've learned on the internet and see if I can repair my cheap but my most favorite blush. Stay tuned. Alright guys, first of all I want to apologize for the change in the quality of the video. My camera died, so I will be using my phone to record this. So this is the blush. You can see how broken up it is. The first step in the process, I should say, is to get it open. I just put lotion on my hand, so of course now it's going to be hard. Alright. So that's what it looks like on the inside. It's pretty banged up. And there are really big chunks still, but in order for this to work, you kind of have to break everything up. So I'm taking an old nail file I don't use anymore, and I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of start breaking everything up. Oh God. Alright, so this is what it looks like right now. The next step is to go ahead and start adding a little bit of alcohol, 100% alcohol, which I have right here. And I just put a little bit in the capful, and I'm just going to like gently put it around. I'm not going to add too much at first because I don't want it to be too watery. And I can already tell I don't have enough, but better safe than sorry. I'm just going to keep adding a little bit more. Oh God. And kind of like stirring it all in. This is just disgusting. It is messy. I feel like this might have been a mistake. But we'll keep going. I almost feel like I should have like put it in a different container or something. Mixed it all together in there and then put it back. So let me go and get another container. Alright, so I went ahead and got this little container, and I think I'm going to like sit here and smash it up a little bit more. I'm just taking the end of a brush and trying to get those bigger chunks out of there because I feel like it'll be easier to mix if it's more of a powder and less chunks. Alright, so it's ground up pretty well. But it's still pretty powdery, so I'm going to add just a little bit more alcohol in it to make it more of a paste consistency. I'm going to go take the back of my nail file like I was and go ahead and like stir it up again. Okay, this is more like the video that I had watched on what it should what it should look like when you have enough alcohol in there. It balls up like this and you're able to like scrape it all together. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take as much of this as I can. Here's my palette again. I'm going to scoop it right back in there. And I'm going to try and press it down with just the back of this and see if that works. Alright, so I think I got it as smooth as I possibly can. I cleaned it up to as much as I could, and the last step before letting it dry is to put a little plastic wrap over it and kind of press it down smooth as well. So I'm just going to do that and kind of like lightly pull on it, I guess, so it doesn't have any like creases. That looks pretty good, and I'm going to close it. And everything I read said there are two options you could do. You could put it in the freezer to make it go faster, or you could let it sit out overnight open. I'm obviously going to put it in the freezer because I wrapped it up, and I will check later tonight. It's at about 6 hours, so I will check later tonight and get back to you guys with the results on whether this worked or not. Alright. Alright, here's an update on the blush, everyone. It is several hours later, and it's been in the freezer the entire time, but it still is really wet. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it open overnight and see if that does anything to help dry it out or not. And we'll just have to wrap it up tomorrow morning. Alright guys, I'm back with the final update of our little blush repair project. It is now Monday afternoon. I originally recorded me fixing the blush on Saturday afternoon and had every anticipation of getting this video up yesterday, but it being Easter, things got too crazy, and I think that was for the better too because the blush wasn't completely dry. So initially I had put the blush in the freezer. I had saran wrapped it and put it in the freezer. Took it out later on Saturday night, probably been like 7 or 8 hours after repairing it that I took it out of the freezer. And it was exactly the same. It was still mushy and goopy, exactly how it was when I put it in the freezer, except just cold. So I took it out and left it out open next to a heat vent overnight in hopes that that would kind of help speed up the process of drying it, and it did, but unfortunately only the center of the pan ended up being dry. So I left it out all day yesterday and all night last night next to the heating vent, and it definitely helped dry it all up. So this is the end result of our little experiment. It's definitely not as pretty as it was before, but I think it did the job of pulling it back together. So while it did a good job of bringing all those little pieces back together and making it look better in the pan and not being like a crumbly mess, I will say this. Number one, I had to scrape off the top layer of the blush in order to get any pigment out of it whatsoever, kind of like a baked eyeshadow or a baked highlighter or something like that. Number two, I think I used way too much alcohol. It definitely changed the consistency of the blush even after scraping off that layer, whereas I really have to dig down in order to get any type of color payoff whatsoever. I feel like I'm dipping into the pan probably like 3 to 4 times and putting it on my cheek in order to get the same color that it used to have, and I think that's my fault. I think I definitely used way too much alcohol, and the reason I say that is because I also went and repaired a pan in my Anastasia Beverly Hills Aurora kit that my daughter also broke, and it was this bottom one, the Orion shade right there, and I used less alcohol in that one, and it has the exact same consistency as the other shades in this pan even after being fixed with alcohol, but when fixing this I used significantly less alcohol, and it was a lot stickier and harder to handle, but it came out better. So I'm thinking I just used way too much in this. It could be that these are totally different formulas, this being higher end, this being drugstore. It could be that too. I don't know. I'm going to try scraping off another layer and seeing if that does anything, but all in all, while it worked putting it back together, it did change the formula a little bit. I'm going to see if I can make it work though. If anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. Leave a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like me, if you like my videos, please go ahead and subscribe. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And as always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, go ahead and leave a comment or feel free to private message me on Instagram as well. I will see you next time. Bye.